started. I'm going to introduce Alex from the city of Cleveland, and then I'll let everybody introduce themselves. This is Alex. He's representing the mayor's office here in Cleveland.
Hello. Morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Mayor Veres.
Yes. Yeah.
Mayor Veres is from Miskolc, Hungary. Deputy Mayor Crnek.
Hello, my name is Dejan. I'm Deputy Mayor of Ljubljana, Slovenia.
Great. And Dorit Nathan Levy.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
So Alex, why don't you kick us off here?
Okay. So you want us to like an overview of our sister city stuff? There wasn't really a lot of background.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So yeah, for the city of Cleveland, we are looking for 3 types of relationships with the sister cities. The first being economic, the second being cultural relationships, and the third being educational. And we've had a lot of success doing education and culture, but we have not had a lot of success doing economic exchanges with our sister cities. So that's what I'd like to walk through and talk through with you all this morning, if possible, is how you turn the relationships from cultural and education into something that could more benefit the residents in the places we represent, as far as and employment wise.
Wonderful, thank you. Mayor Veres, I know you have a video to show. Would you like to go next?
Tehát szeretne polgármester úr bemutatkozni, tehát mondja, mondd el te is, hogy...
Köszöntöm én is a résztvevőket, elnézést, hogy nem angolul szólok.
I'm honored to welcome all the participants of the panel discussion. I'm sorry, I will speak Hungarian.
És nagy tisztelettel köszöntöm a résztvevőket, és akkor egy bemutatkozó filmmel kedveskednék, hogyha lehetséges.
First, I would like to let you see the short image film of Miskolc, so that you can see the city which I'm talking about.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Mayor. Would you like to share with us a little bit about, the sister city relationship between Miskolc and Cleveland, and kind of what you hope for that relationship in the next 5 years?
Hát szeretné polgármester úr megosztani a Cleveland-Miskolc, tehát milyen kapcsolat volt eddig a két város között, és hogy mik a tervek.
Világos.
Okay.
Tehát Miskolc és Cleveland kapcsolata már régre nyúlik vissza, hiszen testvérvárosi kapcsolatot 1995-ben kötöttünk, a kapcsolatfelvétel 1993-ban volt.
The relationship between Miskolc and Cleveland has a long history. The two cities have signed an MOU in 1993, and after all, the heads of the cities signed a sister city agreement in 1995.
És az külön öröm volt, hogy Clevelandben viszonylag sokan élnek magyarok.
One of the bases of this relationship and our happiness was that there are lots of Hungarians living in Cleveland.
És a két város szerkezete, múltja sok mindenben hasonlít egymásra.
And there are lots of similarities between our cities in the structure of the industry, or there were in the structure of the industry, and the size of the two cities, and lots of other issues.
Itt a gazdasági szerkezetre, kulturális szerkezetre, oktatási rendszerre, illetve hát 90-es évekig Miskolc is nehézipari központ volt, és hát gyakorlatilag miután a 90-es évek elején a nehézipar tönkrement, utána újra kellett gondolnunk az egész város jövőjét.
Besides the industrial structure and other things, further similarities were the educational system, cultural diversity, and the heavy industry, which was unfocused until the 1990s, when the heavy industry collapsed in Miskolc, and we had to start repositioning our city.
Az utóbbi években, mintha egy kicsit lazult volna a kapcsolat a két város között, de mi nagyon-nagyon szeretnénk azt, hogy ez a kapcsolat megerősödjön.
In the last few decades, the relationship between our cities have faded somehow, but we would like to revive the relationship, the cooperation between our cities again.
És nagyon bízom, hogy ez a mostani videokonferencia az első lépés lehetett.
And I do hope that this wonderful conference could be the first step leading towards our goal.
Egyébként Miskolcról néhány gondolat még, hogyha elmutatjuk önöket. Igen.
Thank you, Mayor. We appreciate your comments. We hope too that we can restart the relationship.
Great.
Thank you, great.
Mi is reméljük, hogy újra tudjuk kezdeni a kapcsolatot. Can Mr. Mayor give further information about our city? I mean the present life or present situation of our city. Thank you indeed. Tehát, hogy adhatunk-e további információkat is, mondták. Igen.
Egy 155 000 lakosú város, Miskolc.
Miskolc has 155,000 inhabitants.
Ez a Magyarország negyedik legnépesebb városa.
And is the fourth most populated city in Hungary.
Vonzás közvetével együtt mintegy 260 000 ember él itt.
Together with the agglomeration, there are around 360,000 people living in this agglomeration. Yeah?
Mi úgy gondoljuk, hogy ez Magyarország legszebb városa.
Of course, we believe that this is the most wonderful, the most beautiful city of Hungary.
Hiszen itt egy hegység, folyóvölgyek és az Alföld találkozásában van a város.
Because the city lies at the meeting point of the big mountains, river valleys, and landscapes.
És éppen a gazdaság átalakulásával az elmúlt évtizedekben nagyon sokat próbáltunk annak érdekében tenni, hogy egy új, innovatív, környezetbarát, dinamikus várossá fejlődjünk.
And we have been working very hard for many years to become a dynamic, innovative city.
Most elsősorban már a nagy hozzáadott értékű iparágak a meghatározóak a városban.
Nowadays we try to settle down companies with a high added value. High added value.
Nagyon sokat dolgoztunk azért, hogy komoly autóipari beszállítók legyünk.
We worked very hard to become the automotive center of Hungary.
Többi területen, például a légzsákok területén, itt már most azt mondom, a miskolci gyár a világvezető gyárak egyike.
For example, talking about airbags, the company settled down in Miskolc and producing in Miskolc is the leading, world leading company at present.
Másrészt egy erős vegyipari környezetben vagyunk, tehát környezetünkben több vegyipari gyár van, és számos olyan vállalat működik, ami a innovációs kommunikációs technológiában meghatározó. Élelmiszeripar, energetika, logisztika, repülés területén is, sőt, még a NASA egyik nagy beszállító cége is itt van nálunk.
On the other hand, chemical industry is also very strong, and we have many companies from the field of ICT, food, energetics, logistics, R&D, and aviation. And strangely enough, the Miskolc-based company called Admatis has a cooperation with NASA, providing their projects with accessories and spare parts.
És arra is nagyon büszkék vagyunk, hogy az itt megtelepülő cégek itt akarnak maradni, és itt fejlesztéseket hajtanak végre.
And we are also feel proud that the multinational companies which settled in Miskolc earlier developed their business in our city. So they plan not only their present, but their future also in Miskolc.
És nagyon figyelünk természetesen a természeti környezetünkre is, és egyre nagyobb mértékben próbálunk újra, tehát növekvő energiát, vagy tehát egyre nagyobb mértékben olyan energiaforrás szeretnénk használni, ami megújuló. A lakásoknak mint egy 60%-a most már geotermikus energiával fűtött.
Environmentally, protection is key for us. We use more and more renewable energy year after year, and heat the buildings used by the municipality, the industrial parks, and almost 60% of the blockhouse flats by geothermal energy.
Nagyon büszkék vagyunk az oktatási rendszerünkre.
Another field that we feel proud of is the educational system.
A Miskolci Egyetem az egyik legrégebbi műszaki egyetem a világon.
The University of Miskolc is one of the oldest technical university in the world.
És a műszaki oktatás, illetve a mérnökképzés kiemelkedő szakmai színvonalon folyik itt.
And training engineers is happens at a high standard, a high level.
És a Miskolci Egyetem mindig is minden iparág számára óriási támogatást nyújt ezáltal, és így nyilván az ide települő cégek számára is biztosítékot jelent a jól képzett munkára.
The University of Miskolc provides huge support for the companies in the surroundings and in the city by establishing dedicated faculties and departments and by focusing its curriculum to research in hot topics for our business partners.
Illetve középiskolánkban egyrészt a szakképzés, más pedig az általános képzés is kiemelkedő.
We think that at secondary level, both the technical training and the general training is outstanding.
És nagyon büszkék vagyunk arra, hogy a nemzetközi diákolimpiákon az egyik legsikeresebb iskola itt a városban található, ami a világszintű nemzetközi diákolimpiák tekintetén.
And we are really pleased that our students come from our students participating in international students Olympics come from one of the high schools in the city.
Matematika, fizika, kémia, informatika területén.
In the fields of mathematics, physics, chemistry and IT.
És hát a város pedig híres a vendéglátásáról és a vendégszeretetéről.
And last but not least, our city is really well known for its hospitality.
És várjuk szeretettel, akik ide jönnek, és innen nehezen szeretnének elmenni utána.
And we really are pleased that and welcome you and everyone who would like to meet and see Miskolc. And to be honest, everyone who visits Miskolc feels hard to leave our city, finishing their visit to our city.
Nyilván nagyon sokat tudnék még mesélni, de remélem majd személyesen is megtehetjük.
Certainly, I could speak a lot more about our city, but I do hope that we will have the chance to introduce our city in person when Cleveland citizens and representatives visit Miskolc in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Deputy Mayor Crnek, would you like to speak next?
Yes, thank you very much. I would first like to say hello in the name of our mayor, Mr. Zoran Jankovic, and also the greetings to all you, to organizers for this meeting. We are very pleased. And also I would say hello to our ambassador, Lenka Yera, who put a lot of effort that we could come to you, but the situation is now that we see each other only through this video. But nevertheless, we just established that we sign our agreements in 45 years ago, in 1975. So it's kind of an anniversary today, this year. So it's even more nice that we can talk to each other. I must say that Cleveland is the biggest Slovenian city in United States, because the biggest number of our Slovene people is living there. And I myself, was in Cleveland about 6 years ago, because I have one relative there. His name is Mr. Božo Pust, and we take a really good look around the Cleveland. I saw your hospital, I saw your library, your schools, and so. But the event was more in sports field, because in Cleveland is also one sports soccer organization. This is a gymnastic organization, and we are very connected. So there was one big event, so we participate in this event. So we have some connections also with the Cleveland in that part. I would like to say that Ljubljana is the capital of Slovenia. We have daily, on the nights, we have 288,000 inhabitants, but through the day we have about almost 500,000. So many people coming to work in Ljubljana. But nevertheless, although we are a green capital of Europe of 2016, this is the highest prize the city can get in Europe for the achievement they did on the level of sustainability, of living, of mobility, of transport, and such as. To get this reward, you have to fulfill 11 very strong criteria about the managing the water management, about the pollution management, about the traffic, about the social management. And it's really a tough job, but it's always good to put it for your citizen. And that was one of the topics that we want to share with Cleveland if we could come to Cleveland and show him how to be more green, because our mayor always said, if every city in the world would try to fulfill those 11 criteria, we will make a better place, because it really will be clean and nice to live. But our mayor began his mandate in 2006. Now we are 14 years now and settled, like we like to say. And in that time, we made a vision of Ljubljana till 2025, and we follow it like step by step, not go left or right. So, and we in that vision said we want the center of Ljubljana to be like our living room, and also living room for the people who come to Ljubljana, and the surrounding of Ljubljana like our playground. So what we did, we closed the city center for the traffic. It was hard work, but we gained 100,000 square meter pedestrian zone. But for more, the people still can walk in, the older people, or we have a market in the center. So when you're carrying a heavy bag, you have some support. So we put in this pedestrian zone an electric small buses called Cavalier. This is like gentlemen. So it's free for everybody who needs to use it. You can just wave to them and they stop, or you can call them on a mobile phone. So also for the citizen and also for the tourists, it's open. And so we did a measure that the people get used to it, to this free zone in the city center. We only left one alley for buses, cyclists, and pedestrian, and we call it like a shared space. So all the participants are equal in that field. Also, we are Ljubljana. We are very happy that we can say that we drink very, very healthy water without chemical additives. And it was one survey who says that if you treat the water good, we will have this water for next 400 years. So it's some kind of burden for next generation. So the living in Ljubljana is really nice, also because the natural part, because we have a 75% of a green area, but we still planted some trees all the time. 2 years ago, we have an action, one project, when we plant 12,000 trees, because 12,000 people are working for the municipality and his and company for the. So for each employee, one tree, and it was a really great program for this. What to say more? Maybe we as a green capital of Europe, the door from let's say the biggest cities like London and Paris and also New York, the door was suddenly opened for us. Earlier, we couldn't get to the mayors of those cities, but with those titles, and because they saw what we did in all this year, they was really how do you say, some enthusiastic of what we did. And there was, how do you close the city center? Where do you put the cars? When do you, so it was really interesting how the big cities try to copy smaller cities. And that was one of the tasks that we did really good. But all what we are doing it for better life for our citizens and the people who are coming to Ljubljana. And also on the social level, we have very, very good slogan, and it says, live together and respect the differences. So everybody is welcome to live and stay to Ljubljana. What they need to have, it's the good energy. Only this is the only thing they have, because this good energy, we believed, is helping us in Ljubljana, because our mayor always says, what we will say that now in the end, that for us, and maybe for us, some other people, the Ljubljana is the most beautiful city in the world. So thank you.
Much. I'd like to ask Leonardo to go next, Dorit, only because I just, can you turn your camera on, Leonardo, or just audio? Mr. De Marzo, can you turn your audio on? Okay. As soon as we can get your audio, we'd love to hear from you, Mr. De Marzo. Dorit, could you please share on behalf of the mayors of Beit and the Valley of the Springs?
Can you hear me? Okay. So hi, everyone. My name is Dorit. I am the director of the partnership between Cleveland, Beit and the Valley of Springs. I am speaking on behalf of the mayors of Beit Jackie Levy, and the mayor of the Valley of Springs, Yoram Karin, who could not be with us, unfortunately, today. But I'm very happy to be a part of such an exciting conference. The Beit area and the Valley of Springs have a long-standing partnership with the Cleveland community in Ohio. Even though we are the youngest sister city to Cleveland, our friendship is very long. In 1995, this meaningful partnership was formed. And in the 25 years since the partnership was established, the organization's activities have been characterized by inter-community collaborations, and especially with exciting and meaningful interpersonal meetings between people. During these years, dozens of diverse projects and programs have been launched, which empowered residents and enabled the creation of cross-cultural friendships that last over the years. The partnership between Cleveland, Beit and the Valley of Springs is a strong, growing, empowering, and exciting partnership that touches thousands of people every day in Israel and in Cleveland in a variety of significant ways. We are very happy to be now an official sister city with Cleveland. And we expect many more years of friendship and collaboration. And Alex, to your question about further cooperation and economic growth, I think that one of the things I learned from my good friends in Cleveland, from Joe Simperman, Jamar Doyle, from Luca, Nicole McGee, from Colleen Gilson, from Thomas Felton, and from all our dear friends like India Lee. They all, each of them in their field, taught us that people are inspirational. And we learned that in every field we can grow if we learn from each other. And there's always place to learn from each other. So when we want to think about our next 5 years together, I think that we should focus about what we can give each other. What is our added value? And how can we share our added value to help you where you're struggling? And I think that we can complement each other and answer the needs if we will listen to the challenges that we all face, think together, and help each other from our strengths.
Thank you, Dorit, very
Thank you.
much. Alex, is there any questions you have in particular for any of the representatives here today from what you
Yeah, well, I
heard?
think so. We have 3 mayors on, or 3 representatives on. Just some thoughts that came to my mind while you were speaking. I think for Miskolc in Hungary, I think there's a natural connection between your engineering school activities and our engineering school activities through Cleveland State and Case Western University. We've had success with student exchanges. We can usually get those off the ground in a year or less. Those are low-cost programs that are very widely supported. I think for sustainability, Slovenia, Mr. Crnek, I think we could focus on sustainability. Cleveland has one of the first and most robust municipal sustainability departments, led by Mr. Jason Wood, and it's a very dynamic and active department. They do an international conference once a year, and I think that's one way we could definitely collaborate as far as the needs of municipalities for sustainability, which are a lot different than the needs of private corporations or schools for sustainability. So I think that's a natural fit there. And then as far as the our Israel connection, the newest sister city, I've met your mayor a few times, and very interesting guy. He's really fun to talk to. I think there's a lot going on with the 2 libraries between Beit and the libraries in Cleveland. So I think we can continue to build off of that. That's one that has seemingly natural connections, and it's already happening on its own. So I think that's one we can continue to build up. Where's these Italians, man? They're always late.
So I guess Leonardo's going to go try from a different office space, a different computer, to see if he can get his audio to work. And Mayor Grubliauskas, if you can request access, I see you in the chat here. We'd love to hear from you as well from Klaipeda. But in the meantime, Mayor Vedas, is there anything that you heard in particular? You know, Cleveland has very similar economic base, it sounds like, to you. And we'd love to know maybe how we can do more, particularly on the economic front, with you. Bayo, are you with Mayor Vedas?
I do. Yes,
Great.
I am.
Great. Did you hear my question?
Yes.
Perfect.
Thank you. Itt vagyok.
You're muted. Can you unmute, Mayor, please? There we go.
Ja. És be tudod kapcsolni?
So, Mayor Vedas, we'd like to know if you have any particular ways in which you might like to do more, particularly economically with us, since we do have very similar industries and focuses.
If we can't get the...
Can you repeat?
excuse me, can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, so we have very similar economic bases and in terms of industry, what we produce, and how we can use that to support each other's work more.
Én azt gondolom, hogy itt az egy alatt ez tovább erősíthető.
I believe that the relationship between our universities can be further strengthened.
Lehetnek közös kutatási területek.
There might be common research fields for our universities.
Illetve, amit mi is mondtunk, hogy itt a környezetvédelem területén mi nagy erőfeszítéseket teszünk, és a gazdaság területén is erőfeszítéseket teszünk, tehát vannak amerikai érdeklődők, befektető érdeklődők, ott, ha valami segítséget tudnak adni, az nekünk valóban egy segítség.
And as I said, make reasonable efforts to develop investors, and we have quite a few very serious American interested companies who are interested in this. And we welcome all support, all the assistance help you can provide in these fields.
Good, thank you. I want to take some questions from the audience because I know this is a good opportunity for people in Cleveland to talk to these people from other cities. I mean, they don't want to hear from us. They want to ask some questions. So if you have questions, can you please type them into the chat box and we'll start reading them out. I think that'd be a good way to keep our conversation going.
Alex?
So go ahead. Yeah.
While they write their questions, I just want to say that I think that the outbreak of COVID-19, although it created a lot of challenges, is also, as always, every challenge brings opportunities. And I think that when you think about economic growth, with the whole world becoming global and smaller and more virtual, that also brings us opportunities to grow together and create cooperation, especially now. Because if we can be together now from a few different states in the world, different time zones, think together, then we can definitely create more collaboration. So I think that especially now when we think about economic growth, we need to know that we are stepping into a new world, and whatever we think about will be different from now on. And we should think together, what will be our next step and how can we grow together?
I think that's smart. We could try to be growing in the same direction. I see a lot of words Slovenian from Luca. Is that a question for Mr. Crnek, or is that more congratulatory? Okay.
No, I would just thank him because he said thanks for sharing those words of Ljubljana, and I asked him what he is doing now, and he typed in Slovenian, but in the end he said, let's do it now in English that everybody can understand, but I didn't have time yet to answer him, so it was more what he's doing, and he wanted to, he has a wish that we can strangle our cooperation between Cleveland and Ljubljana and the other city. And he said, especially Beit in Valley of Springs, which is like a heaven place. So that's what he wrote. Yeah.
You know, I think one thing that would be helpful too is, and I'm just kind of brainstorming here, is if we had maybe a group of graduate students from all of these cities kind of look at problems that we all face. So maybe we could identify 3 or 4 problems. I know nobody wants to talk about the hard stuff, but we're all municipal governments and we all have similar issues. So we could say, okay, what's the Miskolc approach to this problem? What's the Dejan approach? What's the Ljubljana approach? And kind of, I think that would make a really cool document, and it would give us something to work on, you know, something concrete, and it would be cool. I think we could learn from each other, and it'd be a great master's thesis for somebody. So we could probably get out of doing a lot of the writing. So.
I'm sorry, I have a question on this, what you said. Do you mean the problems when the situation is normal or the problems now?
Yeah, I mean, we can look at it through the lens of COVID-19. I think that's very timely. Municipal responses to COVID-19, I think, is a pretty interesting topic. We've done a lot here in Cleveland, and I'm sure you all have as well. And I think that's one where everybody's learning at the same time too. So we'd all be on equal footing.
We agreed because we just have a video conference in the European level 2 days ago and last week. And we established that we are missing one push from European community that we could have one frame for all countries, because all the countries inside the European Union are doing their best, what they thought, but it is some confusion then. Can you go over we have an open borders, but now some country is closing, some country not. We are in the red dots, we are in the, and who maintains this, so we have a problem because of the market also. How can this export is going on with this whole restriction, which is not from one place, and it's one of the big question of the local communities and cities to the governments and or to the European community, how to do maybe one things for everybody. And this is one of the topics we are now, and of course, in the between, exchanging our good practices in this fighting the COVID-19. So this is also one of the next steps, that we should be more connected cities and talk about and sharing a good practice, and maybe in that way come to unanimous measures for all Europe. This is one of them.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I know in America, the COVID-19 response, there were some guidelines at the federal level, but mostly they were done at the state and local level, which put a lot of emphasis on individual mayors, their response. There are differing opinions in America as far as severity of COVID-19. Broadly speaking, more rural places where the people are more spread out have a much different response than the municipal tight urban areas like Cleveland and Chicago and New York. But I think the response really comes, I think the people will do what they see at the local level, because that person in government is closest to their day-to-day life. So I think that's kind of what we try to do here in Cleveland, is model our response from the mayor's office and from our departments here. It's hard, it's sometimes abstract when stuff is at the federal level, but I think when people see a local official, it makes it more real, because it's somebody they'll see at the grocery store or at a community event.
Hello, Mayor Grubliauskas. So glad you could get in. We are so excited. We'd love to hear from you now. Thanks.
Hello, good morning, probably, yeah? Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Do you hear me?
Yes, we do.
Oh, so thank you so much. It's a great honor for me to join this mayoral panel. Thank you so much. So I'm ready to listen, more like to speak now. Before I will how to say, fully will be involved in this process.
Mr. Vytautas, I'll introduce myself. My name is Alex Lackey. I'm here on behalf of the Cleveland Mayor, Frank Jackson. And maybe could you start just telling us which city you represent and maybe what kind of relationship you have with Cleveland currently, please? Thank you.
Yes, as you see, my name is Vytautas Grubliauskas. I am mayor of Klaipeda city. We are sister cities with the Cleveland, so we are very close partners, probably not so active last 5 years maybe, but anyway, historical, we have very friendly and very interesting relationships. Probably this meeting, online meeting, will extend possibilities for us to communicate much more often, much more interesting. So sometimes in some fields, COVID virus is a good opportunity to restart old relationships for the new energy and for the new possibilities.
I will say the honorary consular to Lithuania, Ingrid Bublis, is very active in Cleveland. She does a lot for our city and for the nation of Lithuania here. So we really appreciate her, and we really appreciate you being here. And I'd also like to welcome Chief Oyero from Ibadan, Nigeria.
Hi, Chief Oyero. Can you hear us? We see you, but we can't hear you. Can you hear us?
Yeah.
I'm looking at the guy, but I can't hear him. So, all right, I got a quick question for the group. Just shout it out. You don't have to wait. What's the first thing that comes into your mind when you think about Cleveland? Just immediately. I'm just curious what the external perception is of Cleveland.
Family.
Okay, family. That's a good one. Yeah, Cleveland's a very warm and inviting place. We have Midwest hospitality, as they say.
I think that when we were in Cleveland, we came with a few delegations to learn from you about how you do STEM education in Cleveland. And we were so impressed to see how you integrate the industry and the education system and the community all together. I think that especially now with all the challenges that have the STEM approach that Cleveland leads, with its out-of-the-box thinking and yet planning ahead and teamwork together, it has everything we need in order to succeed in the day after. And I think that if we will use these tools that you are the experts of, and if we will think together about specific things that we can do, we can achieve many more opportunities to grow, to make a change, and also to see what are our challenges and how do we overcome them in various ways.
To Mayor Grubliauskas. I know you're also going to be on our port panel on Friday, but I don't know if everyone in the audience knows that you have an incredible port and the economic importance of your port to your city. From what I understand, it brings in 10% of the city income. Correct me if I'm wrong. But we have a port, and we are also, looking to utilize it and grow it. And would love to hear a little bit about how that functions as part of your city. You're muted. Sorry, Mayor, you're muted.
Sorry. First, thank you very much for the very interesting and very sensitive question for the city of Klaipeda. Maybe a couple of words for introduction that Klaipeda is port only in Lithuania, and Klaipeda so is the port town in Lithuania, only port town in Lithuania. It's one very important issue. Next very important issue is that port is absolutely state port authority. Klaipeda municipality has no any influence in management of port, and Klaipeda city is only like a partner for the port, but not in the management of the port. It's not so easy for the city because activities of port makes quite big influence or impact for the life of city. But from other case, city has no directly influence or impact for the managing of port, activities of port, planning activities of port as a city. In that case, we have strong and long discussions with the government to change the situation, to make city authorities be much more involved in the management of the port, because all the benefit from the port inflows from the port profits goes to the Vilnius, to the government. Just after that, like a part of taxes comes to Klaipeda again, come back to Klaipeda again, but it's not how to say anything special for the Klaipeda. It's like for this all the cities in Lithuania. If to explain a bit easier, say port is like a part of city, but by the way, it's a part where the city has no direct influence for this for the life of the port. Now, of course, we have good collaboration and cooperation with the port authorities. We have a common structure like roads, railways, social infrastructure. We decide these questions together with the port, but unfortunately not so in such a big measures like we would like to have it, and like it's very important for the city. But hopefully this situation will be changed in the future. We do our best to change it, because I think it's a way only to avoid a lot of problems, a lot of discussions, if we would be much more involved as a city in the management of port.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's really interesting. And quickly, can I just ask, Mayor Grubliauskas, is it true that you are a renowned trumpet player?
Yes, it's a good question. Yes, and I am not a traditional politician. Sometimes I like to joke that I am not a politician who sometimes to play. I am a jazz musician who last 15 years is like a politician. So in my heart is beaten in a jazz rhythm. I am still jazz musician in my life, in my values, in my style of life, in my style of thinking. But my current position is politician, and I like to joke once again that jazz always helps me in politics, but policy always makes the troubles for me in the jazz.
That's excellent. And you know, we have an incredible music scene in Cleveland, from classical to jazz. We have a whole range, and we'd love for you to come and enjoy some of those sometime in the hopefully not too distant future.
Yes, would be very interesting. Would be very interesting to visit and to see and to listen myself, not just to hear what about when somebody speaks about it. It sounds very great. It sounds very interesting for me, particularly everything what is connected with the music, with the jazz, with the culture. It's very close to my heart.
So we have a few minutes left. Alex, I will let you finish and close us out if there's anything else you want to ask or say.
Yeah, I would just say to take this meeting out of just the ceremonial type stuff. I will share my email with all of you, and please, if you wanted to set up a more an intro, Mike Jackson. I know he'd love to meet you digitally. We're doing most of this stuff over the computer, but I really want to make these partnerships real. I think it's frustrating when we do a lot of these introductory meetings, and then there's no progress. So I'm of the mindset to keep working on making these actual real partnerships. So it's good. I think we can work with Global Cleveland. We have a whole bunch of nonprofits in Cleveland that would like to help us with this type of stuff. So yeah, I'd like to make these partnerships real.
Oyero, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. I hope you can hear me too.
Yes.
Hello, Chief. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Cleveland Mayor's office. Do you want to tell us where you're coming from and something about your city?
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm from Nigeria. Ibadan is my city, capital of one of the states, Oyero State. And it has been an old city that had been a capital city for the past
is one of our other sister cities, and one of the things I did want to emphasize is that this network is open to all. It's the entire network. It's not just Beit with Cleveland, right? It's Klaipeda with Ibadan with Beit. So if there's anyone within our network of 24 cities that you are interested in meeting or talking to, please, we are happy to facilitate and support that.
Thank you. It's wonderful to get to know everyone.
So if anyone wants to follow up with the chief, you can always do a private chat with him over in the chat room anytime throughout this. I believe you all have each other's emails also. I want to thank Alex and the city of Cleveland so much for always being willing to jump in and take these opportunities. And anything we at Global Cleveland can do, please let us know. I know this is a new, interesting way of doing things, and I appreciate everyone's flexibility and commitment. Thank you. I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference. We go till Friday at 4 p.m. I hope you can join us for other sessions as well.
Thank you, and bye.
Nice meeting everyone. Thank you, Elizabeth, for managing all these time zones. I think we got about 7 different time zones on this call, so that's very impressive. So.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.